Well, as has been abundantly clear throughout the show so far, we still don't really know where we are with Brexit. Bad news for businesses desperate for an end to the uncertainty. And joining us now is the Director General of the British Chamber of Commerce, Adam Marshall. Thanks very much for being with us. So what is going through the minds of businessmen and women as they watch what's going on in Westminster?
Well, there's a huge amount of frustration and anger out there in our business communities, Sophie. People have been waiting for 3 years for an outcome to this whole process, and what they see is continued political tactics, continued positioning, and no clear route forward. So for many in business out there, this is one of the most frustrating times that they've lived through.
What did you make of the interview with the Chancellor?
Well, we think it's extraordinarily important to avoid a messy and disorderly exit. Previously, that was on March the 29th. Now that's on April the 12th. The difference of a fortnight makes very little difference to businesses. That cliff edge, that possibility is still very much there, and businesses want to avoid it. So it's helpful to hear a number of politicians, including the Chancellor of the Exchequer, re-expressing their determination to avoid that sort of exit.
I mean, some people who are Brexit supporters would say that actually businesses need to embrace the opportunities of no deal. There are plenty of things that the government can do to make us more attractive to business, and we should just take the plunge and be optimistic about it.
Well, businesses are resilient and they're going to embrace the opportunities of whatever situation they end up finding themselves in, but that doesn't mean they don't need a route forward. They've been watching this for 3 years. Many of them have had to take some very drastic decisions in their own businesses in order to prepare for all scenarios.
So what kind of things are you talking about? Are you talking about job cuts, relocations?
We've got people cancelling investment. We have one company in the West Midlands, for example, contacted us last week that is going to mothball its UK operation because its investors and owners want to, quote, move to a more stable country. That's where our politics has left quite a lot of our businesses. In Kent, for example, right now, companies preparing for a situation where there's total gridlock on the roads and people can't even go about their day-to-day business. These are the kinds of things happening in the real world right now. And to everyone in politics, whether they be in government or in Parliament, they need to get a grip of this very quickly because these impacts are real and they're out there.
You obviously have a lot of conversations with ministers, with members of the government, with advisors and so on. Are you confident that they actually have a grip on what's happening, that they have a plan, or are they just feeling their way?
Well, I think they are certainly listening to some of these concerns for business, but we have yet to see that clear and concrete route forward. I looked at the Sunday newspapers this morning and actually I was quite depressed by what I saw because it was all about the who rather than about the what. What we're concerned about at the moment is what is that path forward? What is the timeline that businesses are going to have in order to adjust to a new reality, whatever that may be? And where are the practical answers to the real world questions that they're ringing us up and asking every single day?
You mentioned the Sunday newspapers, of course, they're full of news of coups, plots against the Prime Minister. I mean, do you think that would be helpful to have a new Prime Minister who might be able to find a way forward, or do you think that actually this is a distraction and it could be worse?
Well, when you have companies out there saying to you, I don't know who I can hire in a couple of weeks' time, I don't know who my regulator is, I'm not sure if my goods are going to reach people that I'm selling them to across the world, and I really am not sure what's going to happen to my business. That's the real world stuff, and I think the frustration and anger you get out there amongst businesses is that the politics is all about what's going on in Westminster. There needs to be a lot more of a focus on the economic realities and the need to avoid that messy and disorderly outcome that business does not want to see.
OK, Adam Marshall, thank you very much for the update on what businesses are currently thinking.
Thank you.
Much appreciated.